Hello dear student, in this lecture we'll be discussing about Buckingham's pi theorem and we'll take up a problem on Buckingham's pi theorem also. Okay, so in the previous class we have studied about Rayleigh's method or Rayleigh's theorem and we have solved a couple of problems on Rayleigh's method also. So continuing with the lecture on dimensional analysis, today we'll be taking up Buckingham's pi theorem. Okay, so if you read the statement says if there are n variables in a physical phenomenon and if these variables contain m fundamental dimensions, so here we have discussed what are fundamental dimensions, which are nothing but mlt for the structural problems or geometrical problems. The problem is of thermal type where temperature term is involved, fourth parameter will come into picture, which will be theta, mlt theta. But for the subject fluid mechanics, there are only problems based on mlt, three fundamental dimensions. Okay, so as far as the subject is concerned, always fundamental dimensions are only three. Okay, then the variables are arranged into n minus m dimensionless terms. So n is the number of variables, m is the number of fundamental dimensions. So variables in the given problem may be 6, 7 or 5, something like that. So if you take the difference, then we will get n minus m pi terms. So when you do this n minus m, we'll get number of pi terms. So you have to solve for pi 1, pi 2, pi 3 if n minus m is equal to 3. Okay, let x1, x2, x3 up till xn are the variables involved in a physical problem. Let's suppose there are n number of variables. Let x1 be the dependent variable and remaining be the independent variables. Okay, in every problem it is very important to identify the dependent variable and remaining independent variables. So in any given problem, one will be the dependent variable, rest of the variables will be independent variables. Okay, on which then x1 is a function of all the remaining independent variables. Mathematically you can write like this or you can write like this. So x1 is a function of remaining independent variables, or you can modify and write down f1, the function f1 is x1, x2, x3 dash dash up till n is equal to 0. Okay, then each pi term is dimensionless and is independent of the system. Division or multiplication by a constant does not change the character of pi term as it is dimensionless. Each pi term contains m plus 1 variables, where m is the number of fundamental dimensions and also called repeating variables. Okay, let in the above case x2, x3, x4 are the repeating variables. If the fundamental dimension mlt is equal to 3, then each pi term is written as, it is written like this: pi 1 is equal to the repeating variables and one of the non-repeating variable. Then pi 2 is equal to 3 repeating variables, which are x2, x3, x4, and one of the non-repeating variable. Similarly, pi 3 is equal to 3 repeating variables. You can see in pi 1, pi 2, pi 3, x2, x3, x4 are common. Then we have remaining 3 which are non-repeating variables. So in general we get equation like this. So in a given problem, again it is very important to decide repeating and non-repeating variables. So there are some thumb rules to identify repeating and non-repeating variables. So we'll try to understand them. Method for selecting repeating variables: the number of repeating variables are equal to the number of fundamental dimensions of the problem. The choice of repeating variables is governed by the following considerations. So we'll go through them one by one. First one, the dependent variable should not be selected from the repeating variable. Okay, so always dependent variable should not be should not be selected from the repeating variable. That means the dependent variable is one of the non-repeating variable. Okay, second point, the repeating variable should be chosen in such a way that one variable contains geometric property, we'll discuss this later. Second variable contains flow property, and third variable contains fluid property. Okay, so here variables with geometric property are, so geometric property means which decides the geometry, like length. It is the examples are given here. First one, the length L, second one the diameter D, and the third one height H. Okay, then variables with flow property are, that is velocity V, acceleration A, which are basically defining the flow. As everybody knows, it is velocity and acceleration. Then variables with fluid property. So we have studied so many fluid properties like density, viscosity, surface tension, capillarity. There are so many of them. So those will be the fluid properties. Okay. Then in a given problem, these three should be there. So variables, geometric property should be there, flow property should be there, and fluid property should be there in repeating variables. Third point, the repeating variables selected should not form a dimensionless group. Okay, this is very important. It should have dimensions. Then fourth one, the repeating variables together must have the same number of fundamental dimensions. Okay, then fifth one, no two repeating variables should have the same dimensions. Okay, that means if you have taken length as one of the repeating variable, again you cannot take diameter as the repeating variable. So we cannot take the repeating variables such that they have same dimensions. Okay, in most of the fluid mechanics problems, the choice of repeating variables may be, so these may be the repeating variables if you are solving any of the, in many of the given problems, these will be the repeating variables, dv rho or lv rho, lv mu, dv mu. So these will be the combinations of repeating variables. If you observe closely, in the first one, dv rho, d is a geometric property, v, velocity is the flow property, rho is the fluid property. I hope it is clear. And in the second one, L is the geometric property, which is length, v, velocity is the flow property, again rho is the fluid property. Then if third combination, if you see lv mu, so if density is not given as a fluid property, viscosity will be given, then that has to be chosen. So again the fourth one is dv mu. Okay, so we'll take a problem now and we'll try to understand the procedure how to solve Buckingham's pi theorem. Okay, so the problem statement is like this: resisting force F R of a supersonic plane during flight can be considered as dependent upon the length of the aircraft L, velocity of the aircraft mu, air density rho, and bulk modulus of air K. Express the functional relationship between these variables and the resisting force. So if you read the problem, a resisting force is depending upon the length of the aircraft, velocity, air viscosity, density, bulk modulus of air. So there is one dependent variable and 5 independent variables. So totally there are 6 variables in the problem. Okay, that means we have n is equal to 6. We have n is equal to 6, and the variables are listed like this. You can see here r, l, v, rho, mu, k. Okay, it is written here that r is a dependent variable and remaining are the independent variables. So if you read the problem, you can easily identify the dependent and independent variables. Okay, so this is the first step what we are doing now. In that we have read the units of all variables and express them in MLT form, which you have done in previous Rayleigh's method also. This will be the repetition. R, what is the unit of R? As it is the resisting force, its unit is Newton. So Newton, you can write it as mass into acceleration, as Newton is unit of force, so it can be expressed like this. So we will get in terms of MLT like m raised to 1, L raised to 1, T raised to minus 2. So either you can write down just m or m raised to 1, both will be same. Okay, then L is in meters, so we get just L raised to 1 or m raised to 0, L raised to 1, t raised to 0. That is for L. Then for velocity, we know the unit meter per second. We get m raised to 0, L raised to 1, t raised to minus 1. Similarly, all the variables are expressed initially in SI unit, then they are expressed in MLT form. So then we have to choose among the given variables which are repeating and which are non-repeating. So in this problem, we have taken combination of L, V, rho as repeating variable and R, mu, K as non-repeating variables. So if you see here, this is one of the combination which is selected in this problem also. So L, V, rho is selected as repeating variable and R, mu, K are the non-repeating variable. Okay. So this is how you can select the repeating variable, or there is another method. So if there are say two geometric properties, if say there is length, there is area, I have to go for selecting length, okay, which is basic one considering length and area. If you have say in case of flow property, if you have velocity and acceleration, go for the basic one which is velocity, then we get acceleration. So select velocity as a repeating variable. Then in this problem we have three properties which are with fluid property. So rho is a fluid property, mu is a fluid property, and K is a fluid property. So what we do, we select rho. Among the three, rho is basic one. So density is the fluid property which is taken as basic property. So that is selected as repeating variable. So as we solve more and more number of problems, it will be easy to select repeating and non-repeating variables. The best way to choose them is go for the most basic one. Okay, like this you can select. Then we can write down the equation f1 is a function of r, l, mu, v, rho, mu, k is equal to 0, or it can be written as f1 is equal to pi 1, pi 2, pi 3. Okay, that is nothing but f1 is a function of pi 1, pi 2 and pi 3. Okay, then so we have m is equal to 3, which is nothing but in this problem there is no temperature term, so we have only m, l, t. There is no theta or temperature term, so we get m is equal to 3, and number of variables we have 6. So when we take n minus m, we get equal to 3. In the problem we get pi 1, pi 2, pi 3, which is already written here, Then we have to form a table like this: pi terms, pi 1, pi 2, pi 3. Then we have to write down GV indicating geometric variable, FV indicating flow variable, FPV indicating fluid property variable, NRV indicating non-repeating variable, which are written here. So write down like this. So if we get n minus m is equal to 4, then we get one more, pi 4. So that we get here. So that will be fourth one. Now as there are only 3, we get only 3, pi 1, pi 2, pi 3. Then what is the next step? The next step is write down repeating variables in any order, but it is better to write down like starting from the geometric variable as it is written: geometric variable, velocity which is flow variable, then fluid property variable. Then if you see here, one of the non-repeating variable is written, which is taken as r. Then it will be repeated again. If you see here, initially it is rho raised to a1, then here we have rho raised to a2, sorry, L raised to a2. Initially it is L raised to a1, then we have L raised to a2, then here we have L raised to b1, here we have, sorry, it is v raised to b1 and we have v raised to b2. Okay, then we have rho raised to c1 here, here we have rho raised to c2. If you see there, only the power is changing. Power is changing from a1 to a2. Okay, b1 to b2, c1 to c2. Then in non-repeating variable, we write down the second non-repeating variable, which is mu. Okay, then we have in the pi 3 term L raised to a3, as it is 3, we are using a3, then v raised to b3, rho raised to c3, and the last non-repeating variable. So these three are forming like three equations. So write down them like this. First pi 1 term is found by writing the first equation like this. Pi 1 is equal to, you assume that there is the equal to sign here. Pi 1 is equal to L raised to a1, v raised to b1, rho raised to c1 into r. Okay, if you imagine that there is a equal to sign, okay, equal to sign, and just write down the equation like this. So that is equation number 1, which is written here. Then express all the variables in MLT form, which you have already found, which you have already discussed. Then equate the powers of MLT. Once you write and equate them, and on solving we get the values of a1, b1 and c1. So this is same what we have done in the Rayleigh's method case. So we get the values of all the constants, which is nothing but a1, b1, c1. Then what we have to do, substitute back the values of a1, b1 in equation number 1. On simplifying, we get phi 1 is equal to r divided by rho l square v square. Okay, then considering pi 2 term, so here is the pi 2 term. Imagine there is a equal to sign. Pi 2 is equal to rho raised to v2, v raised to v2, rho raised to c2 into mu. Okay, so this is how. Then what we have to do, write down all the units in the form of MLT. So here is pi 2 term, and here it is its MLT form. Then equating powers of MLT and solving for all the equations. After equating, we get the values of b2, a2 and c2. Then substituting back them in equation number 2, we get pi 2 is equal to mu divided by rho vl. Similarly, we can consider this as third equation. Pi 3 is equal to l raised to a3, v raised to b3, rho raised to c3 into k. So the equation is here. Then what is done there, all the units are expressed in the form of MLT. You can see there for pi 3, as it is a dimensionless term, m raised to 0, l raised to 0, t raised to 0. For l, it is just l raised to a3. So I hope you can do the simplification very easily. Then in the next step, what you have to do, you have to equate the powers of m, l, t. On equating and solving, we get the values of a3, b3, c3, and substitute these values of a3, b3 in equation number 3. On solving, we get pi 3 term. Then depending on the requirement of the answer, you can rearrange and write down pi 1 is a function of f1, that is function f1 is equal to pi 1, pi 2, pi 3 is equal to 0, or you can rearrange as you want. So it is rearranged like this. Here r divided by rho l square v square is equal to function of mu divided by rho lv k by rho v square. Okay, so if you see, it is taken as pi 1 is a function of pi 2 and pi 3 terms. So on simplification, we get final equation. So this is how we solve problems on Buckingham's pi theorem. I hope it is clear. In the next lecture, we'll take one more problem in detail, and we'll try to understand the Buckingham's pi theorem once again. Okay, thank you for listening. Thank you for your patient listening.